She doesn't leave you when she stops loving you. That's the lie most men cling to because it feels clean and understandable. But women don't exit relationships through emotion first. They exit through perception. And that shift happens quietly, invisibly, long before the arguments, the distance, or the words, "I need space," ever show up. She leaves you when she starts thinking in a way you don't even notice, when her mind stops experiencing you and starts evaluating you, measuring you, weighing you against a future she's already imagining without you in it. And once that switch flips, you can't negotiate your way back. You can't explain your intentions. You can't perform harder, love louder, or chase faster. Because at that point, you're not dealing with feelings anymore. You're dealing with a verdict that's already been formed. The war is already over. You're just the last one to hear the gunshot. That's why she can still smile, still laugh at the right moments, still say everything is fine, while something in your gut tells you it isn't. Because what you're sensing isn't drama or conflict. It's absence. The absence of desire, of curiosity, of tension, of that invisible pull that used to exist without effort. If she's still smiling, but you feel something is missing, this is why. In this video, you're going to see the exact mindset shift that puts you in a losing position long before you realize you're losing. And more importantly, how to detect it early, before you become the safe option she settles next to, while her desire quietly migrates somewhere else. Women don't exit relationships with their feet first. They exit with their perception. That's the mechanism most men never see until it's too late, because they're trained to look for noise, arguments, tension, coldness, when the real collapse happens in silence. A relationship doesn't fall apart when the fights start. Fights are loud. Fights are obvious. Fights still mean engagement. The real collapse happens when her internal narrative quietly rewrites itself, when the story in her head shifts without ever asking for your input. One day, it's we, a shared direction, a shared identity, a shared future. Then, almost without warning, it becomes me, her needs, her feelings, her life, with you no longer at the center of the frame, but somewhere off to the side. This is the moment connection turns into evaluation. She stops feeling you and starts studying you. Your words aren't heard for intent anymore. They're measured for outcome. Your presence isn't comforting. It's assessed. Your effort isn't appreciated. It's compared. And the most dangerous part is that nothing on the surface has to change for this to begin. She can still text back, still show up, still sleep next to you. But internally, admiration has already begun its slow decay into audit. She's no longer asking herself how to grow with you. She's asking what it costs her to stay. She's not trying to fix the bond. She's trying to justify a future without it. The moment she starts auditing you, she's already preparing the verdict. Every small disappointment becomes evidence. Every missed expectation gets filed away. Not because she wants to attack you, but because her mind needs a clean story when she finally decides to detach. This is why men feel blindsided. They think the breakup came out of nowhere, when in reality, it was rehearsed internally for weeks or months. The scariest part is that she will act normal while she builds her case. She'll smile because conflict would expose the shift too early. She'll stay calm because calm gives her clarity. And while you're trying to preserve the relationship through effort and reassurance, she's quietly changing how she sees you. And once perception changes, behavior always follows. This is what thinking like this actually looks like beneath the surface, and it's far more dangerous than anger or boredom. She stops experiencing you and starts measuring you. When desire is alive, a woman feels a man. She reacts to him instinctively. Time collapses around his presence, but once the shift happens, feeling gives way to calculation. The relationship turns from something lived into something assessed. Instead of sinking into moments with you, her mind steps outside the bond and begins asking colder questions. What am I getting from this? What am I missing that other women seem to have? What else is out there that might feel better than this? These questions don't come from cruelty. They come from disengagement. And once they appear, the emotional contract has already been breached. At that point, the bond becomes transactional. Love stops being a shared space and starts being a ledger. She weighs effort against outcome, time against reward, stability against excitement. Every interaction subtly shifts from connection to cost-benefit analysis. You may feel like you're still there, still showing up, still doing the right things, but internally, she's no longer asking how to deepen what exists. She's asking whether what exists is worth continuing at all. That's when your presence gets reframed. You're no longer home. You're no longer the place her nervous system relaxes. You become the thing in the way. The familiar turns into the limiting. The relationship stops feeling like shelter and starts feeling like friction. From there, the final piece locks into place. She begins collecting tiny disappointments like evidence. Not the dramatic failures men expect, but the quiet ones. The moment you didn't lead, the moment you hesitated, the moment you felt predictable instead of grounded. These aren't gathered to repair the relationship. They're gathered to justify leaving it. Her mind needs coherence. It needs to believe that detaching is reasonable, logical, deserved. So it builds a file. One small letdown at a time. One unmet feeling at a time. One internal note added without your knowledge. And this is why men are blindsided. They think problems appear suddenly, when in reality, the case has been forming for weeks or months. When she starts thinking in evidence, you're already on trial. And trials aren't about understanding. They're about verdicts. Once she starts thinking in evidence, the shift doesn't happen all at once. It moves through stages, quietly, methodically, like a door closing 1 inch at a time. The first stage is silent recalibration, and this is where most men miss it completely. Her warmth doesn't vanish, it changes texture. Less spontaneity, less unfiltered emotion, more politeness. She still responds, still listens, still engages, but something feels flatter, rehearsed. You start feeling like you're talking to her face instead of her core, like the connection is technically there, but energetically absent. She shows up physically, but the pull is gone. Her body is in the room. Her attention is not. Then comes defensive reversal. And this is where confusion turns into self-doubt. Simple questions you ask to understand her suddenly feel like interrogations to her. Concerns you raise calmly get reframed as insecurity. The conversation flips before you can even finish your sentence. You're no longer discussing an issue, you're defending your right to have noticed one. This isn't random. When accountability disappears, a new reality is being protected. Her mind is already leaning away from the bond, and anything that threatens that internal shift has to be neutralized quickly. After that, the private world begins to expand. Her phone becomes sacred, not because she's necessarily cheating, but because separation has started. There are new routines you're not part of, new requests for space that feel reasonable on the surface, new pockets of privacy that didn't exist before. The distance grows quietly, not dramatically. She isn't creating chaos. She's creating autonomy. And this is the part men misunderstand most. Secrecy isn't always betrayal. Sometimes it's rehearsal. It's her practicing life with less emotional dependence on you. Finally, the emotional exit strategy locks in. The future starts sounding vague. Plans turn into, "we'll see." Long-term conversations lose momentum. She stops building with you and starts building without you, mentally first. You may still be there in the present, but you're no longer included in the picture ahead. When she removes you from the future, the relationship is already a memory in her head. What comes next may look sudden to you, but for her, it's simply the last step of a process that's been unfolding in silence the entire time. This is where most men lose, not because they don't care, but because they respond to a perceptual shift with the worst possible instincts. The moment they feel her pulling away, they panic and reach for the nice guy fixes they were taught would save them. The first mistake is performing harder. More gifts, more dates, more reassurance, more emotional labor. You try to flood the gap with effort, thinking effort creates desire. It doesn't. Effort without gravity creates predictability, and predictability is the opposite of attraction. Instead of pulling her back in, you quietly confirm what her mind is already expecting, that you're trying to earn something you no longer command. Then comes the second mistake, begging for clarity. You want answers, definitions, timelines. You want to talk it out. So you turn into a courtroom lawyer, laying out your case, presenting evidence of how much you've done, how reasonable you are, how committed you've been. And she turns into a politician, vague answers, emotional deflection, carefully chosen words that sound reassuring, but commit to nothing. The more you press, the more slippery the conversation becomes, because clarity would force her to confront a decision she's not ready to announce yet. And every time you plead for reassurance, you lower your frame. You show her that you're reacting to her perception instead of anchoring your own. The third mistake is the most destructive. You become a detective. You start watching her phone, her online status, her social media, her location. You look for proof that something is wrong, thinking certainty will give you control. But you don't regain respect by acting powerless. Surveillance is not strength. It's anxiety with a mission. Even if you find nothing, you've already lost ground because the energy you project is suspicion and fear, not presence. And if you do find something, you're still behind, reacting instead of leading. This is the brutal truth most men don't want to hear. The more you chase her explanation, the more you confirm her conclusion. Every extra question, every emotional appeal, every attempt to fix the feeling signals that you sense your position slipping. And once a woman senses that, her perception hardens. Not because she's cruel, but because perception responds to certainty, not need. By the time you realize these fixes are failing, the shift you're fighting has already done its damage. Here's the part most men misunderstand, and it's why this pattern keeps repeating across different relationships. This doesn't happen because women are irrational, disloyal, or impossible to satisfy. It happens because desire and respect operate on psychological laws, not moral intentions. Desire needs polarity. Respect needs structure. When either one erodes, perception shifts. And when perception shifts, behavior follows. When she starts thinking like this, it's usually not because you suddenly became worse, but because the dynamic slowly lost its tension and its center. Over time, many men become too available, too predictable, too safe without presence. Availability without direction feels empty. Predictability without leadership feels dull. Safety without masculine gravity feels stagnant. You're there, but you're no longer felt. You show up, but you don't anchor the emotional field anymore. Instead of being the axis the relationship rotates around, you become part of the background. Familiar, reliable, but no longer compelling. And the moment a man becomes background, a woman's mind begins to wander forward, not out of malice, but out of instinct. This is also where leadership quietly disappears. You start reacting instead of directing. You wait for her moods, her signals, her approval before making moves. You adjust yourself to maintain harmony instead of setting tone. The relationship becomes responsive instead of guided. And when a woman senses that you're following her emotional weather instead of standing firm in your own direction, respect starts to thin. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to change how she thinks. At that point, validation replaces embodiment. You seek confirmation instead of expressing certainty. You ask instead of deciding. You explain instead of acting. None of this makes you a bad man. It makes you a man who drifted away from his center. And perception doesn't judge intent. It responds to energy. When value is embodied, it's felt without being announced. When it's missing, no amount of reassurance can substitute for it. This isn't about hating women. This is about understanding the mechanics that quietly destroy men. These dynamics operate whether you believe in them or not. They don't respond to effort, guilt, or fairness. They respond to polarity, structure, and presence. Once you see that, the shift stops feeling mysterious. It becomes mechanical. And what's mechanical can be understood, anticipated, and changed if you're willing to look at the dynamic honestly instead of defending your intentions. Once you understand what's happening, the move that actually works feels counterintuitive, almost wrong, because it goes against every instinct panic creates. This isn't about tactics, tricks, or lines. It's about posture. High-status awareness instead of emotional reaction. The first step is to stop arguing with the signal. When your instincts tell you something has shifted, don't debate them. Don't rationalize them away. And don't try to prove you're wrong. Instinct is data before language. The mistake men make is trying to talk themselves out of what their nervous system already knows. Don't debate your instincts. Collect data. Observe patterns, not excuses. Energy never lies, but it does require silence to be read clearly. The second move is to stop over-explaining yourself. The moment you feel misunderstood, your reflex is to clarify, justify, and narrate your intentions. That urge is poison. The man who explains is already below her frame, because explanation signals that you need her agreement to stand where you are. Presence never needs translation. Certainty doesn't beg to be understood. When you speak less and move with intention, you force perception to recalibrate. Over-explanation feeds her evaluation mode. Stillness interrupts it. Then comes the most revealing step. Create space and watch what fills it. Not as punishment, not as a game, not to provoke jealousy. Space is a clarity test. When you stop filling every gap with effort and reassurance, the truth rises on its own. Does she lean in, re-engage, seek you out? Or does the distance feel easier for her than closeness? Space exposes motivation without confrontation. It removes noise and lets reality speak. And whatever shows up in that space is information you can't afford to ignore. Finally, you return to your axis. Purpose, discipline, standards. Not as a performance for her, but as a correction back to yourself. You realign with the things that made you grounded before the relationship became the center of your emotional gravity. Your stability is the only thing that makes her nervous in a useful way, because stability doesn't chase, doesn't plead, doesn't collapse under uncertainty. It stands. This is the shift from panic to gravity. You don't win her back with urgency. You don't win her back with effort. You win with gravity, or you gain clarity without self-betrayal. Either way, you stop losing. This is the part that confuses men the most, and that's why it's the most dangerous. When she starts thinking like this, she doesn't turn cold overnight. She doesn't erupt. She doesn't expose herself with obvious behavior. She will still kiss you, still lean in at the right moments, still laugh when you say the things you've always said. On the surface, nothing looks broken. And that's exactly why your instincts start fighting your logic. You tell yourself you're overthinking. You tell yourself it's stress, mood, timing. But what you're feeling isn't imagination, it's dissonance. Her behavior is familiar, but the energy behind it is gone. She will still say, "I'm fine," because at this stage, she is. Not emotionally connected, not conflicted, not confused. She's fine because the hardest part already happened internally. The decision has been made quietly, privately, long before the conversation you think is coming. She's not hiding a secret. She's hiding a conclusion, and that distinction matters. Secrets create tension. Decisions create calm. That calm is what feels unsettling. It's the calm of someone who has already accepted an ending you're still trying to prevent. This is why men get blindsided. They're waiting for a sign dramatic enough to justify action. But by the time the signs become obvious, the leverage is gone. Her nervous system has already detached. She's no longer trying to be seen by you, challenged by you, or met by you. She's managing optics while emotionally packing her bags. Every affectionate gesture at this stage isn't a bridge back, it's a courtesy. Every smile isn't reassurance, it's closure happening in slow motion. The most dangerous woman isn't the one who screams, argues, or demands change. Those women are still engaged. They still want something from you. They still believe the bond can move. The most dangerous woman is the one who goes quiet while she plans her exit with a smile. Quiet, because there's nothing left to negotiate. Smiling, because conflict would only slow down a process she's already completed in her head. And if you don't understand this moment, you'll keep mistaking politeness for connection, calm for stability, and presence for commitment, right up until the door closes and you're left asking how it all ended so suddenly, when in reality, it ended long before you noticed. This was the first door, not the solution, not the fix, but the point where denial ends and awareness begins. What you've just seen isn't meant to make you paranoid or bitter. It's meant to make you precise. Because once you understand that women don't leave through chaos, but through cognition, you stop waiting for explosions and start reading shifts. You stop confusing calm with safety. You stop mistaking politeness for desire. And most importantly, you stop being blindsided by endings that were decided long before they were announced. But this is only the entry point, because the moment she starts thinking like this, something else begins moving beneath the surface. Desire doesn't vanish into thin air. It doesn't evaporate just because a relationship feels stable on paper. Desire is energy, and energy always moves somewhere. When it disconnects from you, it doesn't disappear. It transfers, and that's where most men completely lose the plot, still focused on words and behavior, while the real story is happening at the level of attention and imagination. The next video opens the second door. Warning: desire doesn't disappear, it transfers. You'll see where it goes, how it attaches, and why men who don't understand this end up confused, reactive, and replaceable. Once you understand the direction desire takes when it leaves a man, you stop chasing symptoms and start recognizing trajectories. And when you can see the trajectory, you're never blindsided again, whether the outcome is reconnection or separation with dignity. If you felt that stomach drop while watching, that quiet recognition that something here matched a feeling you've never been able to explain, subscribe. Not because this channel will reassure you. It won't. Not because it will tell you what you want to hear. It never does. This channel exists to strip away comforting lies and replace them with clarity that actually protects you. The kind of clarity that sharpens you instead of softening you. The kind that makes you harder to manipulate, harder to misread, and harder to replace. This isn't about winning arguments or controlling outcomes. It's about understanding the mechanics that govern attraction, respect, and loss. Because comfort makes men passive, awareness makes them dangerous in the right ways. And once you step through this door, you don't get to unsee what you now understand. The next one goes deeper.